And now for something completely different. We're going to make bagels in a tiny Bangkok apartment. For me, bagels is one of my favorite foods. And it's not impossible to find a good bagel in Bangkok, but it is difficult. And honestly, it's sometimes easier and more fun to make your own. I can understand why people might be confused about making bagels in a Bangkok kitchen, because this is my entire kitchen. Here's everything we'll need today. Most breads are flour, yeast, and water, and salt. To that, we're going to add a little bit of honey for the process later. And I always have a nice cup of chrysanthemum tea. We'll start with 380 grams of water. I need some more water. Always use the good water. Everyone says that the Bangkok water is unsafe. I don't believe that, but even the locals don't drink Bangkok water from the tap. So we order in. To that, we're going to add 8 to 10 grams of yeast. To that mixture, we're going to add a little bit of sugar. Now it's a matter of proofing the yeast, making sure they're super happy. $550 grams of flour. Let's go for some good ASMR noises here. We add some salt, about 5 grams. Now the fun begins. We'll take our flour, which we stirred up nicely to incorporate the salt, make a little well in the center. I'm using a dough blade here. Again, bought this at the Lotus's. We take our super happy yeast, dump it right in there. Now the dough blade is actually a clutch tool. I learned about it by watching far too many YouTube videos, cooking videos, and there's a guy who says this is his only tool for making bread. So I went down to the Lotus's and picked up one. And I say Lotus's because two things. One, that's the way they spell Lotus's here. So it used to be Tesco, then Lotus bought them. It was Lotus Tesco for a while. And then it became Lotus's, L-O-T-U-S apostrophe S, which is kind of weird because that is grammatically incorrect. Plus, in Thailand, the S is very often pronounced sa. So a scooter is a scooter. If your name is Scott, then everyone calls you Sakat. So we are making some sauper bread here. See how this all comes together pretty nice. It took a while to actually get the mix of weights right so that this comes together reasonably close. We'll probably still have to add a little bit of flour to this, but it's a lot closer than many times, and I'd rather add flour than water. So you turn it out. This is coming together well. So when you do dough for bagels, one of the important things is that it's got gluten up the wazoo. We're going to want to knead it a lot and for a long time.
Bagels take a lot of kneading. I've been making them for years, and I just kept kneading them longer and longer each time. These days, I shoot for about 18 to 20 minutes. Apparently, the longer kneading develops the gluten more fully, and that's what you want for that wonderfully chewy texture that bagels are known for.
So what you're going for here is what they call the window pane test. You're looking for something that you can do with your dough here and make it very just translucent. You can see light through it. I don't know if that's picking up, but you want it to see light through it without it tearing. This is looking pretty good. I think we're ready to let this sucker rise. A little bit of olive oil at the bottom of the bowl. It's nice and covered in oil so that it has a great spa day in the sun. Take your dough, put it in a warm place. Here in Thailand, it's very easy to find a warm place because it's pretty warm here. I have this little stool set up that I use just for this, because I like to give my dough a nice view of the city.
The rising time is perfect for doing the little chores around the house, catching up on all the things that need to be done. Just kidding. Rising time is perfect for the more important things in life. Those things that you can never find the time to enjoy otherwise. My advice? Consider rising time to be me time.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get this puppy outside. Now the fun part. See those bubbles? That is what we're going for.
Speaking of Zen exercises, making 8 equal pieces is kind of like that for me. The problem is it seems like I don't think enough when I do this. There has to be a more systematic way of getting all the pieces to within 5 or so grams of each other, but I haven't found it yet. So while this may not be the best way, it's my way. And honestly, using a scale is probably overkill. If you get them close enough, they're usually fine. So yeah, I'm definitely overdoing it here. Once they're all close to even, it's time to shape. The idea is to pull each one from the top around to the bottom, gathering up the loose ends at the bottom and pressing them all together. Then, cup each one under your hand and roll it in tight little circles on the counter. And it really helps tighten up the shape and make the surface of it really taut.
Time to shape. There's a million theories and beliefs in how to do this, but I believe in doing it the simplest way possible, because that's just how I am. You'll pull them out a little bit bigger than you normally would, because they are going to rise a little bit. Luckily, this counter is a little sticky, so that can work in our favor. So now you let these rest. 10 minutes.
Now, this is the step that makes a bagel a bagel. A bath in boiling water. To save time, I boil the water first in an electric kettle and then add it to the pan. Now, I keep a very minimal kitchen by design, so I don't have a giant pot, which would be better for this. Instead, I use my fry pan and do the bagels in batches of 2. Yeah, it takes longer, but at least I don't have to find a place to store that giant pot, which would be impossible in this kitchen. For best results, put the bagels in upside down, with the tops, the smooth side, down first. This helps give the tops a rounder, fuller shape in the finished bagels. I let them go about 3 minutes on the first side, then flip for 2 minutes, then 30 seconds each side once more before taking them off and putting them on a rack. Then, of course, I have to do the second batch again. It would be better to do the next steps I'm going to talk about and get them straight into the oven at this point, but with my fry pan I don't have that luxury. Plus, I have to let the cooktop cool before I can put the oven back for baking. From here, the bagels will have more heft than before, and the boiling water apparently helps set the gluten, which gives bagels that great chewy texture. I've prepared a pan with cornmeal to help with sticking. Then, dip each bagel in egg wash, beaten egg and milk, and make sure they're completely covered. Then I like to add salt. The salt I use is a special salt that's harvested here in Thailand, near Chao Samran, about 2 hours south of here on the Sea of Thailand. Finally, load these things up with sesame seeds, both black and white. Black sesame seeds are kind of a thing in this part of the world. They use them in foods, in oils, and they even use black sesame seed oil in beauty and skincare products. Then it's straight into the oven. Mine is set at 230 degrees Celsius, or about 450 Fahrenheit. I bake for about 20 minutes, then turn the pan for another 10 or so. This is a convection oven, and though the fan isn't the most powerful thing in the world, it does help speed up the process. So if you're using a regular oven, you'll have to adjust the time a bit longer.
Oh, look at those. Golden brown and delicious. That is of what I speak. All right, let's cut these things open. Light and airy. And I know a lot of people like cream cheese. I love cream cheese, butter, everything else, but the way you can tell if a bagel's any good is to taste it all by itself. Look at that. Look at that crumb. That's all right. But how does it taste? Chewy, moist, got that nice outside crispy crust. Yeah, I don't, whether it's worth it to you to make these things at home, only you know. But I don't know for me, the answer is not just yes, but heck yes. That's the news, and I'm out of here.